Over the past decade, player-to-player interaction has evolved through online play. Whether it's teaming up to work together or facing off in a more competitive setting, online multiplayer has reshaped the way we approach and interact with games. Before, I used to stay away from playing online, but now even I can't help but get sucked into games like Overwatch, which is a team-based multiplayer online first-person shooter, or a TBMV for short. With its growing prominency in the gaming world, the inclusion of online multiplayer or some kind of online feature is to be expected in the majority of modern titles at this point in the game. This is especially true when it comes to shooters. That's why I was surprised to learn that Volition's new open-world action game, Agents of Mayhem, does not feature any kind of multiplayer. What is this, the Great Depression? Just look at how sad this guy is. He can't play the fucking Agents of Mayhem with his buddies. Agents of Mayhem is a team-based shooter featuring 12 agents, each with their own unique weapons and abilities. Players can select 3 of these agents, swapping between them as they complete missions and traverse a futuristic version of Seoul, South Korea. From what I've seen so far, Volition are taking familiar elements from other shooters and putting their own spin on them, creating a single-player game with their own over-the-top seal of approval. On the surface, a lack of multiplayer doesn't seem like such a big deal. It still looks like it could be a lot of fun and will probably provide a decent single-player experience. But let's take a look at Volition's previous outing, Saints Row. Since Agents of Mayhem is technically a spin-off of the Saints Row series, I don't really see this as an unfair comparison. I specifically want to look at the 4th game in the series since it's the most recent. Like AOM, Saints Row 4 is a third-person shooter with an open-world setting. In the game, players can create and customize their own characters with a variety of different options. In addition to that, they were also equipped with an arsenal of ridiculously over-the-top weapons, and if that wasn't enough, they were also granted superpowers that allowed for much quicker traversal than being on foot or in the wide assortment of vehicles offered. And add even more combat options like telekinesis or shooting out various kinds of blasts, and you have a lot of content here. In fact, I think Volition packed this game with too much. On top of all of this, Saints Row 4 also features online co-op. 2 players could run around in this sandbox with all of these ridiculous tools at their disposal to cause even more havoc together. Now, let's look at Agents of Mayhem. As I said before, the game features 12 characters to choose from. Volition has aimed to make each of these characters unique by giving them their own personality, backstory, and motivation. With this focus on crafting characters that are each meant to stand on their own, I think it's fair to say that Agents of Mayhem is a character-driven game. This can work from both a story perspective because it can offer a variety of different characters to engage with, and from a gameplay perspective, because it can offer distinctive characters, with their weapons, abilities, and playstyle being dictated by the traits of each character. Volition seemed to have a much clearer vision this time around. Since players wouldn't have complete control in fully customizing their character, they wouldn't be filling in the blanks as much with their own imagination. As a result, the developers needed to be a lot more intentional when building each agent, in order to offer players distinctive characters and give them control over how they choose to play each character, while still adhering to the limitations of them and their personalities. I have yet to try out the game, but it's this sort of nuance that can really bring variety to a game that offers multiple playable characters, and create a unique and memorable experience. This is amplified when you consider that the player controls 3 agents and is required to balance the playtime between them, utilizing each one in the proper situation. Although both Saints Row 4 and Agents of Mayhem are about offering the player variety through different gameplay mechanics, AOM seems like a much more focused game as a result of this approach. Both titles are similar, but conceptually and structurally they are entirely different kinds of games. Saints Row 4's main focus is to provide as many options and elements in the gameplay to empower the player. Volition just said fuck it and gave us the whole shebang, with the freedom to create our own entertainment. AOM seems like a much more controlled approach at this idea, staggering all of the different abilities out through each of the agents, creating a game focused on using the agents in conjunction with each other to work as a team rather than rolling as a one-man army. So with that being said, please tell me why the game that's completely designed around teamwork is the one without any sort of multiplayer. Both gameplay styles that each of these titles offer would be complemented by having multiplayer, but Saints Row 4 already featured so much shit that it didn't really need a co-op mode to elevate the core gameplay. The ability to partner up with other players seems much more conducive to Agents of Mayhem because of its emphasis on teamwork. The game is already built around this, so it's odd that this option isn't available in any capacity. I can't say for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in the development process, multiplayer was going to be included, but was ultimately left on the cutting room floor. Either way, this decision wasn't exactly thought through all the way. I think that Volition are limiting themselves, and only catering to a specific audience here. Not only alienating current fans who spend a lot of time playing their games online, but other players who may not have been interested in Volition's previous titles and are more interested in games like Overwatch. Yeah, I know. A lot of people are comparing this thing to Overwatch. But when you look at this game, how do you not see at least some influence? I guess it's also kind of like Mass Effect being a sci-fi shooter with a squad of 3, except you can't swap characters in Mass Effect. It's also like Battleborn. Battleborn sucks ass, so no one gives a shit. Anyway, it's obvious that Volition are trying to appeal to the Overwatch crowd, but if this is the case, then removing the multiplayer, which is a large aspect of what makes Overwatch so appealing, doesn't make sense. I understand trying to do things differently, but why create a game that borrows elements from other multiplayer shooters and is clearly built around teamwork and utilizing multiple characters, and then remove the option to play with other people? It's especially strange since Agents of Mayhem features something that Overwatch doesn't, which is a single-player campaign. If AOM did feature multiplayer, it might have a leg up on games like Overwatch, because it would offer both single and multiplayer gameplay, rather than just multiplayer, like Overwatch. It would give Volition a greater chance at attracting a wider audience. I'm really looking forward to playing Agents of Mayhem when it launches. Considering how long it takes me to make videos, it's probably out already. The gameplay looks fast and frantic, and I can't wait to test out each character and dive into their different playstyles. This is more of a speculative take on the game, and based on what I've seen so far, I really believe that this type of character-driven, team-focused game would greatly benefit from having multiplayer. Even if the game isn't perfect, being able to experience it with a group of friends has the potential of elevating it beyond what playing alone can provide. I still have high hopes for the game and that I'll enjoy the experience it offers. Maybe in the future I'll make a video discussing the game in full, but for now, that's all I gotta say. Thanks for watching, folks.
Come back when you get some class.